Chapter 7. Basher knew Christabel was away that weekend, so he would have lots of time to himself. And as it was Friday night, he thought he would visit the club. He stepped outside and caught a whiff of something in the air. Basher sniffed carefully. Yes, if he wasn't wrong, that was doughnuts, the sort you get at a fun fair. He was also sure he could smell adventure. Beastly bears have a nose for that kind of thing. So he boldly ignored the corridor entrance and slipped out into the street instead. It was dark, but he still had to be careful, sneaking his way through bushes and longer grass. Luckily, it wasn't far to the source of the smells. It was a fun fair. He took a deep breath. Ah, doughnuts and adventure. Just the thing for a Friday night. He was sure he could get away with this. If anyone saw him, he would play dead, as though someone had dropped a bear on the ground. Basher was aware of a niggle of worry in the back of his mind, but he squashed it down. He was a beastly bear, and he was here for adventure. It was worth the risk. The first thing he spotted was a merry-go-round close by and starting up, so he raced to clamber on. The horses started to move. As the wind rushed through his fur, Basher looked out over the fun fair. There weren't any people on the merry-go-round, which he thought was rather strange. Then he spotted why. A big metal octopus full of screaming people was flinging its massive tentacles left and right and upside down. Basher's eyes lit up. That was a suitable ride for a beastly bear. He hopped off the merry-go-round as it came to a stop and ran to the other ride. He found a discarded paper bag and held it over his head, so if anyone looked down, it would look like a paper bag was blowing around the rides. He chuckled to himself and grasped the pole under one of the seats. This was going to be huge. He could feel it in his fur. His excitement mounted as the engines whirred and the tentacles came to life. Soon Basher was racing, moving faster than he ever had before. Wow, he thought, as the world rushed past him in a blur. Why have I never done this before? There were loads of rides he could try. Yee-haw! He cried, as the octopus wheeled, braked, and flung the carriages high in the air and down towards the ground again. This is the life. He flung a paw to the wind, then realised his mistake as the carriages tipped upside down and his other paw slipped off the pole. Ah! Basher shrieked as he flew through the air. He prayed for a soft landing. It came sooner than expected, but strangely he found that although he had landed, he was still going round and round. He must be dizzy from the ride. Everything was blurry and pink. Then Basher realised he was inside a candy floss machine. Suddenly it stopped, and through the curtain of sugar covering his face, he saw a hairy arm reaching for him. How did that get in there? Get rid of it quick, Jerry. What will people say? Customers are coming over. Hurry! Basher braced himself as he was once more slung through the air, this time landing with a thump on the muddy grass, bumping his head hard. Then everything went dark. Several hours later, Basher came to. What had happened? Why was everything pink? He stood up stiffly, trying to get his bearings. Where was he? There was no one around. He felt his way carefully across the grass to the dodgem cars, where he could see a little pool of light. He caught sight of himself in the side of one of the cars and nearly jumped out of his skin. What was that? Oh, it was him. He shuddered. He had a large pink cloud for a head and a fluffy pink fringe. He tried to remove it, but the candy floss had set rock solid while he'd been unconscious. This, however, was the least of Basher's problems. He couldn't remember what had happened, or what his name was even. Some instinct told him he was a beastly bear, but not what he was doing in this place. And why was his head pink? Was it a curse? A spell? He tried to think coolly and cleverly like a beastly bear should. Now, why would he be wearing this incredible pink hat unless it was the very height of fashion. "I think this is the latest thing," he said to himself. "Ooh, a French accent. He must be French. Better and better." France was très fashionable, especially among beastly bears. Yes, or rather, oui. He would be welcomed with open arms at the club. It was time for a couple of even largers, with some extra ginger perhaps. Suddenly he was very thirsty. "An even larger with ice. That would be nice." Basha laughed. He was in a good mood for some reason. He tottered off on stiff, sugary legs in the direction of the Beastly Bear Club.